Welcome to Season 1, Episode 6 of The Breakdown with Dave Starman. Good to have you back as always. And today we're going to change our focus. Normally we talk a little bit about defense and goaltending. Today we're going to get a little bit on the offensive side of it. And I'm doing it because of the recent NCAA Men's Frozen Four, the college hockey championships. And by the way, congratulations to the 4 schools that made it, and especially the University of Denver, who won their 9th national championship in Boston on April 9th. And we're going to take a look at some of the highlights of the game between Denver and Minnesota State in Boston as we go through our video. But one of the reasons that I got onto this topic for this presentation, this breakdown, was because Denver is a very good possession team. And most of the season, when you watch them play and then you get on Instat and you take a look at the possession time, whether it be even strength possession or offensive zone time possession, one of the things you notice about Denver is generally they out-possess you. Now, sometimes it can be by 7-8 minutes a game in both of those categories. And when I looked at the Frozen Four championship game, it was a little later. And Minnesota State actually was the team that outpossessed Denver. Denver had a tough time getting their game going. And one of the reasons they did is because they're a possession-based team who loves to gain the offensive zone in possession of the puck and then try to create some structure with some high rolls and dive downs and scissors and that kind of thing. But they love to hold on to the puck to make a play, and they encourage their players to do it. They've got a lot of skill, and it worked really well. Against Minnesota State, who was so good defensively, much like a Western Michigan or a Minnesota Duluth or even Notre Dame, they really gave Denver fits, and it forced Denver to get out of their game before they got back to it. But it also is a really good lesson learned in how to change up your offensive attack options. So we'll roll through, and we'll talk about attacking the offensive zone with a purpose. And there are a couple of things that we've always talked about, and this goes from any level. And it starts with, what do you see? If you're the puck carrier, or if you're the F2 coming in a little bit behind the puck carrier and can be more of the eyes, what do you see? And a lot of it has to do with what you practice and how you structure your practice and what you're teaching your players in those practices. And we're going to get to that a little bit later in the presentation. But what does the defense give you? Because that's going to be a lot of how you're going to attack the offensive zone. The numbers component. Are you skating into the teeth of their back check? Are you skating into very populated areas? Where are your numbers? Where are their numbers? Because that will help you determine what you want to do once you cross the offensive blue line or even before you cross the offensive blue line. And number 3, you can still have possession with puck movement. I think possession sometimes is mistaken to be that the puck carrier just holds on to the puck a whole lot and then moves it to another puck carrier who just holds on to the puck a whole lot. You can have a lot of puck movement and still have possession. It's just a matter of where you are, finding soft spots, finding holes, finding seams, and where you're going to move the puck around to. Now, the word deposits has become a little popular lately. It's sort of replaced the word dump. That's a kind of a USA Hockey thing. And John Robleski, who you're going to see later in this presentation, was the first one who really got me thinking about the term deposit versus dumping it in. And we've got to make sure that we're successful here. We've got to make sure that we do this with a purpose. The place and race is, to me, the newer version of whatever we used to call the dump and chase. But the dump and chase, I always thought, had a very negative connotation to it. That just meant you were throwing it in and hoping that you were going to get to it. The place and race is a play where you're moving a puck as a puck carrier into an area where you know that you've got support coming in that can go generate a race, a good foot race, which is a skill play, go chase down a loose puck, go get possession of it, and recreate what you started to do at the offensive blue line. Much like in real estate, location, where you put the puck and how you put it there matters. Just firing it in to see where it goes, not the greatest idea in the world. So we want to put the puck in with a purpose. We want to put it into an area that we have predetermined or even pre-practiced so that our support guys can go get it or girls can go get it. And then creativity. You're going to see later on in this presentation how the simplicity component can lead to the creativity, but I'm a big believer that creativity can be accomplished by just keeping it simple. Now, Denver won the national championship. They won 5-1. They got a couple empty netters late. It was a much closer game than the score will ever indicate. And like I mentioned earlier, sometimes you need to get out of your game before you get back into it. And this was interesting. And this is what you can see some video of is Denver was moving pucks and trying to gain the zone, but they weren't putting pucks in good areas. So they had to get away from what they did a little bit to get back to what they do well. It was a little bit of a softening up component. And then once they got the lead, they were able to stretch Minnesota State and get back to their game. And once that happened, the avalanche really started. So we'll talk about a lot of these concepts, and we'll finish up with this one note, and that is it is so hard for defensemen to defend off the shot or for a defending team to defend off the shot. So sometimes when in doubt, you don't have a great play, but at least you have a good look at the net. Put a puck to the net. Make players turn. Make players start to puck watch, because when they start looking where the puck is, they start forgetting where people are. And that's a lot of times where you start to manufacture some goals. So we'll take a look at some of the video that we put together here. We'll start with the national championship game. It was April 9th. And for Denver, we're struggling. And we're going to take a look at why they struggled. F1 with the puck here. He's got a chance to get the puck into his zone. Here comes F2, so there's good support. There's F3 for a potential rim. But here, F1, seeing that he was so closed up, probably should have just chipped the puck off the wall, let F2 go get it, and then F1 can head towards the middle. Instead, they try to make a play into a populated area. Maybe they go for the cross-corner dump, that kind of thing. But look at the numbers that White, Minnesota State, had back, and they're able to turn this play around. Look what happens here. Lots of numbers. 5 white sweaters. Numbers belong to the defense here. Denver tries to make a possession play, but they try to make it where their numbers aren't good. Here's a play where you could possibly have just hammered it around. A good hard rim could have happened. Instead, they went for a play towards the middle. Antti Tuomisto, 3 in dark, Detroit pick, couldn't pick up a clean puck. Look at him skating into traffic here. Once again, Denver picks it up, skating into traffic here. There's no place to make a play. Instead of depositing a puck behind the defense, they try to make a play. Now, on this one right here, this is interesting because I'm going to bring this back for a second, and I want to show you something here. As they come into the zone here, there's a common philosophy on 2-on-2s, and that is you need to split the defense. So this player that's coming in right here, if he gets inside the D to the net, kind of comes in on the short side post here, then the player who just made that chip, when they make that chip, they could chip it for a possible connection. You're going to have to get this defenseman to turn and go backwards and defend that way. So you got a much better chance, and that could allow F3, who's sitting back here outside the blue line, could allow F3 to make a play coming inside. So just keep that in mind as you're working with your players, that there are times where on these situations, you need to make sure that your player is splitting the defense, not going to the outside and making life much easier for the off defenseman. So where did Denver find some success? Well, as the game was going on, they were beginning to poke and prod, and they found a little bit of their game. But keep in mind, through the end of the second period, the Pioneers had 8 shots on goal. They generally have about 25 by now. Minnesota State did a really good job at tracking back and shutting them down. But here's a nice play moving up ice where they get a chance off a good entry. They get a chance to the front of the net. They don't get a shot, but at least they get an opportunity. Here's a good pull-up. Now they can layer. They can get their defense involved. They can get a presence at the front of the net and make a play. Here they get a chance for a high roll. Pull-up, support, net presence. It's not a great shot, but at least it's good structure. 3-on-2, they get numbers. They can make an extra play here. The lane to the net was broken up. They get a 3-on-2. They get an opportunity. Now, here's that play I was talking about before. Split the D. They got a play to the front of the net. It wasn't a well-executed play, but it was a well-thought-out play as that defenseman was able to get to the front. We talk about simplicity leading to the creativity. Well, here's where it happened. The puck carrier right here, it's Brett Stapley. He's a Canadians draft choice. Watch what he does as he gets this play rolling, and then you'll see a defenseman coming in late to finish off this play. Good F2 to the net. Allows the F3 to come in on the blind side of the D, makes the D turn a little bit, get a little uncomfortable. There's a play to the front, doesn't happen. Here comes a D on a dive down. They punch one to the front of the net, and they're able to get a goal here. So it was a good entry. Here's another one. They get numbers. Good entry. And those are 2 future pros. That's Carter Mazer and Massimo Rizzo. And if you see the celebration, those are 5 guys that are probably going to all wind up playing in the league. You got 4 drafts in there. Make a real good play on the entry. So as you go along and you stick to your game plan a bit, you can pay it off later, but sometimes you have to get out of your game to get back into your game. John Robolescu, as I mentioned before, was the head coach of our national team development program and did a terrific presentation on line rush theory and developing some offense off the line. Listen into what he talks about here, because he gives you a great example of that play that we just saw with Denver, of maybe throwing a puck cross corner or throwing a puck hard around to get it to the weak side so that your F3 can come in a position to get a puck and make a play, a version of the place and race, or as he likes to call it, depositing behind the defense.
This is a look at a defensive posture that we saw a lot. You're going to have 3 players in the frame, and this is an opportunity where we have got to play behind the opponent. So Matt Boldy, he knows that the strong side deposit isn't going to be great because he's got a bleed dog in front of him. He's also got a defender. So anything along this wall might get turned over. Anything on the net, that's no good either. That's a turnover. So he knows he's got a buddy over on the far side. That's Patrick Moynihan. And Boldy's going to go indirect off the wall to Moynie over here on this side of the ice. So he's passing that puck, deposits it over. And now what we've done is we've shifted the opponent. So their funnel comes in and they have to all shift this way. Moyni delivers to the net, and now the funnel's got to shift back. So their defensive zone is already a little bit in flux. You can start to see guys starting to stop and look around, and that's the split second that we need.
And you certainly recognize the name Matt Boldy, who's a guy that's had some success in the NHL so far, played at Boston College, and was on our World Junior team that won a gold medal. So good playing there, and good job by John Robleski. It's a presentation I did for my 15U AAA team a year ago, the Long Island Gulls. That's where you see that logo in there. And then as we move over here to some of the team concepts, a friend of mine who's a coach sent this to me. Their team did it. It's a little bit of an instructional type video, but I think this is either a 15U, maybe it's even a 14U team, and they really did a nice job here at breaking down some of the concepts here. They're simple, but they're effective. These are things that you can do with your team. Wide drive, 3-on-2 situation here. You get a guy from outside the dot lane, F3 to come over, make a play on a puck, get a little drop pass. You see the two forwards going up front in orange, driving the D back. Here's a little 2-on-1 with a delay on the F2. We can come to the front of the net. The 2-on-1 is the most popular rush in hockey. And the more you practice it, the different ways you practice it, the better. Here's a situation where they come in parallel, defense can pick off the puck. So that's why we want to stagger, whether it's the puck carrier going wide outside the dot lane and slowing down and allowing a net drive by F2, or the F2 delaying outside the dots and allowing F1 to drag the D a little bit, create some space to be able to make a play. So you see a couple different versions of it. There's a wide drive by the forward. Puck carrier can delay, net drive to the middle, read the stick of the defenseman in terms of where you want to make your play. Defensemen are always going to steer. So if you're the F2, do you want to get on your horse and drive the front of the net off the back post? Or do you want to come up high, let the puck carrier drive? Then there are times where the defenseman may take you, and now the puck carrier's got a lane to the net. I want to stop it right there for 1 second. Going to the defensive side of this, I've always felt like if you're the coach, you're the goalie, you're the defenseman, you got to figure out how you want to play those 2-on-1s. So I don't want to get too much off the course here, but in the beginning of the season, goalie, the coach, and the Ds should all have a discussion on how you want to play 2-on-1s. If you're the goalie, do you want the shot, or do you want the defenseman to take the shot and you'll take the pass? How do you want to play it? As a head coach or as an assistant coach, and especially as a goalie, to me, it didn't really matter to me. I like the shot, but it doesn't really matter to me how you want to play it as long as everybody's on the same page. Once again, you're seeing some different options. Now you get to the 3-on-2s. You can get a wide drive with the puck carrier. F2 splits the D, drives the D back. F3 comes in open. And if we stop here for 1 second, I'm just going to roll it back real quick. I want to show you that play that I talked about before. So you got the puck carrier that's over here, skate up, and then you got the potential of a hard around here. It's a play you're going to have to practice, which allows this F3 to drive the puck and come down with it. Maybe that F3 pulls up. Now F2, who's driving the net here, and he's got this guy's attention, this guy probably has to break off to go change the puck, and you can now come in over the puck and help seal. And the F3 that's over here on the side, you're now going to come in and just play the reverse role, trying to beat this D in open space. So it's just another option that you can think of, you can work with your team on, and make sure you get that into your bag of tricks. But here's just a regular play. Good net drive, keep the D in, cut his stick, cut his hands, get him to turn or her to turn, make a play to the front of the net. And practicing these things is vital. There are a million different drills you could do it. We're going to show you one in a little bit, but there's a lot of different ways you could do it. To me, it's repetition, 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 but you've got to develop the proper habits. Wide drive, stick down. If you're going to crisscross, get in on the hands of the defenseman. Where are you putting pucks? Good passing, good support, good spacing. All these things matter, and all the different concepts that you want to talk to team about. Buzzwords, net drive, drive the far post, stick down. All the little things that you can get your team to do. Now we get to some of the inverted entries here, and an inverted entry is a 1-on-2, a 2-on-3, a 1-on-3. This is where your higher end players can make a big difference, because you're going to want them to gain the offensive zone, grab the line. They know they're coming in at a major disadvantage, but they're going to have the patience, the hockey IQ, and the skill to wait for the cavalry show up. This is a lot of what Denver was able to do during the year, what Michigan was able to do during the year, what a team like St. Cloud State could do during the course of the year. And that is get the zone, make a skill play, hold on to pucks, be patient, and let the cavalry come up to even out manpower. So watch what happens here. Team in white, come up the ice. That's Minnesota. They'll come through. Look at the 1-on-3 that we got here. Grab the line. There's no support. They're going to keep going. You got 3 guys carrying on the puck carrier. Now all of a sudden, quick pull up. Here comes the cavalry. Put a puck in a good ice. Everybody's puck watching. No one's picking up anybody on the attack. And Minnesota gets a goal. Same thing here at Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh in dark. Throw a puck to the front of the net. Make Philadelphia in white. Defend off the shot. Once the puck goes to net, what's everybody do? They puck watch. And Pittsburgh's able to come in and pop a late goal. Now here on an even entry, team in white, Tampa Bay, good play, get inside the defense, cause some coverage issues. This is a big-time NHL play right here. Whoop! Throw a little puck to the front of the net and bang it in. But just a good execution of some simple things. And once again, when talking to my goals team a couple of years back, these are some of the components that we put in, whether it be driving the net, stick down, all the things we just talked about. These are your buzzwords. And if you get your players to remember your buzzwords, you're that much further ahead in the development of your players. Boys hockey, girls hockey, men's, women's, doesn't matter. The structure remains the same. And these are some of the things that you can utilize for your team. My old buddy, Dan Bilesma, got to watch Dan play in the IHL way back in the mid-90s when he was in Phoenix and I was in Atlanta. Became a heck of a coach. And Dan and I did a World Junior Championships together on NHL Network. Just a real bright hockey mind. And this is from a presentation he did on the coach's site in the Chalk Talk Breakdown series. It's excellent. He gives you 3 drills. Take a listen to Dan Bilesma then with the Detroit Red Wings.
4 lines, 1 at each hash mark here, forwards and defense in each line. And we would start off with the puck, skate across, pass the puck to the first player in line, continue on and swing wide. This player receives the pass, comes into the middle of the ice. He would pass the puck out to the wide player. And now we're going to have an entry and attack on a coach who is now in this area here. So we would drive the puck wide, get confronted. We would push the puck behind the coach. And here's our puck support, middle lane drive. Again, we're driving off the coach's shoulder here, picking up the puck in behind him with our speed. And now the original wall player, he's getting off the wall, getting into the middle of the ice, and we'll see him drive the net as the middle lane drive guy. As we pick this puck up, as we enter the zone, we get depth of attack. And now we're looking to shoot the puck to the cage for create a rebound situation for the middle lane drive guy to the net. Another entry from the same set here. See in red here, the first player in line, skate across the ice, pass. Again, we're getting to the middle of the ice with the puck. We're now swinging wide. There's your 2-on-0. We're ready for our entry. Another entry we can do here, we kick this puck out wide. Now we drive, we get depth of attack down the wall. The inside player, again, we're heading for the coach here. So the coach is strong side defenseman here. We want to hit this coach's shoulder. We're trying to drive him back with our speed and our pressure, our middle lane drive support. Then you continue on to the net, pushing the coach back. We're middle lane drive, cut in behind him with a cut to the middle of the ice, creating space, an opportunity to create offense for a shot here on net with our middle lane drive to the net. We're going to progress on to a 3-man entry across the blue line. So from same corners at the hash marks, 3 guys will go at one time. Again, we'll start skating across the ice. We'll pass the puck to the first guy in line. And we'll swing all the way wide here. The second man will swing in just below and deeper. We'll get the puck back from that guy in line. And the third guy in line will start heading up the ice. We'll 3-on-0. We'll attack the middle of the ice in the far blue line. And again, we're looking for that puck to get kicked out wide. We'll have a wide entry, depth of attack, trying to get down to the top of the circle. The middle lane drive guy, again, will attack off the coach's shoulder here. The coach is acting as a defenseman. You're playing off the coach's shoulder, middle lane drive to the net. And our third guy, our wide guy, he will be dot wide, again, staying outside the dots, dot lane, just off the middle lane drive guy's shoulder in the dot wide area. Now the wide guy has 2 options with this puck. He can play off the coach and make a play behind, as we did with the 2-on-0 entries. And then he would go to the net for a shot, or he can drive the net and pass behind to the dot wide guy. And we're looking to shoot this puck dot wide.
So we hope you enjoy this episode of the Breakdown as we took a look at some offensive attack options. You got to see a lot of players that are going to play in the NHL and former NHL assistant coach talk about some drill development and an American League head coach and John Robleski and some of the theory that he used when he had the national team development program with Team USA. Congratulations to those 4 teams that made the men's Division I Frozen Four. It's a heck of an accomplishment to get there. The Denver Pioneers, once again, winning their 9th title. So David Carl, Tavis McMillan, And Dallas Ferguson, congratulations to you. And thank you for watching. We love doing these. We love bringing this to you. And we will see you once again very soon on The Breakdown.